it's getting harder and harder to breathe. Hey, welcome to my quarantine. Before we get started on the box, I just thought I'd finish up on the circle we were cutting the other day with the router. So what I took home was the router and my circle jig. And so we'll just set that up quick. I'm going to use a straight fluted bit in here. Insert that. Again, make sure you put it in, but don't bottom it out. Tighten that up. Okay, and all I've done is taken a regular base from a router, and I've removed the sub base, the black part, made my own out of PVC, and it's extended maybe a little further than I'd ever have to. And then I can just insert that base onto the router. I'm going to set the depth first. Excuse me, roll out. Set the depth first, just so it makes it just to the PVC. Like that. And then, when the bit comes through, I can set the distance for the radius of the circle. In our case, my circle was 11 and an eighth. So I'm going to go half of 11 and an eighth is 5 and 9/16, I believe. And so 5 and 9/16 away, it's right there. Oh, there's already a hole. Good. So I'm going to use this hole here. Put a nail through there. Like so. And I should be able to drop this router in. Get everything out of the way. Even you. Okay. Oh, I lost it. PVC kind of melted together a little bit, but there. So that's your best way to cut a perfect circle. And we'll finish that floor drain when I get back to school. Okay, so let's talk box. All right, so with me gone this week, you're going to have to start your birch box. Let's back up to what the intent is. The intent is to make a box out of either birch or oak veneer plywood, a veneer plywood like 1/2 inch thick, and you're working with a plywood that is not solid wood. So it's not solid birch, it's not solid oak. It just has that thin veneer layer on the outside, and I mean like paper thin veneer. So your challenge is going to be to, I guess, build the box without damaging that veneer, protecting that veneer, working with that veneer, and all the challenges that it is. The project is very simple, but that doesn't mean it's going to be easy. With simplicity, it's hard to hide mistakes, and I guess you only get one chance at things. You can't hide things and such like that. Sorry, that wasn't well described. But what you'll get is you build a project that just because it looks simple doesn't mean that it's going to be easy. All right. So, I mean, here we got, like, hopefully at the end you end up with a box you can kind of customize. In the end, but we'll start with, you know, making this box, and hope you have some time to do that at the end. The box is 24 inches about, and I don't care if it ends up a little smaller, but we're going to aim for that. And then it's 14 inches deep and 14 inches tall. So just keep those dimensions in your head as we lay out the piece of plywood. So 24 inches wide, 14 inches deep, and 14 inches high relatively. Some things that we try to do when we build the box is we try to wrap the grain around the box. So like when we're cutting this piece of plywood, we make sure that the grain wraps around the box just as if it was cut from the plywood, and nothing is random on the box, or at least we try to do as little random as possible. We strive for grain direction to be the same as it wraps around the box. We don't go grain, you know, horizontally and then grain vertically when you switch to the side of the box. So ultimately on the box, we have to work for efficiency in making sure that the plywood works for us so that it does that grain wrap and we get a box out of the same sheet of plywood, because we don't want to be cutting a second sheet of plywood for a piece of plywood to do the top that isn't going to match the plywood we used on the front and on the sides. And so we have to be very diligent about and specific about how we lay out that piece of plywood, kind of the planning stages of the box. All right, so there are a whole bunch of half-inch birch sheets at the back of the classroom. That half-inch birch is meant that you can build a box and your partner can build a box. Now I say partner very loosely. Your partner will not be someone that you need to build the box. You're just sharing a piece of plywood for the first couple days. Pause it.